Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. We have approval of the agenda. We have a couple additions or amendments. 7J is an addition to the other bonus pay. And then on the consent agenda, 10G is an addition assembly permit application. That's been highlighted. Does the council have anything else to be changed on the agenda? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with those two additions?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallon. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the May 5th, 2021 regular meeting. You all received them in your packet. Is there any corrections, clarification, or questions about anything in the minutes for that meeting? Hearing nothing, I entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the May 5th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Come up to the podium and state your name and
They're not going to come up.
Oh, they should come up too.
My name is Paul Post, and I drew the shortest straw, so I get to do this.
Glenn Hilton.
okay.
We are a representative of a group of the active senior citizens in Sauk Center. We would like to talk to you about something very important to us. It's the game of pickleball. We've been doing some moving around, trying to get a place to play pickleball. Through community ed, we can play in the wintertime, but once winter's over, they close the gym down. We've done things like lining the tennis courts with tape, but it sure would be nice if we had some pickleball courts in Sauk Center. In good German fashion, I realized that since we never did this before, and Mayor Stone was good enough to tell me that we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. We should talk parkboard first. But eventually you guys are going to make the final decision, I guess, so
Yep.
you know. I don't know where to go. We will come to the park board meeting. We'll talk about it with them, present it to them as we can. One other thing is that this morning, 3 of the 4 of us and a couple others took a trip over to Alexandria, where last November they put in 8 pickleball courts. We were there at 9 o'clock to play. We probably played for 3 hours, and most of that time, all 8 courts were filled. That's 4 people per court, and they were waiting on the sidelines. It's a social thing, you know. People just play in and out. Doesn't matter who you play with. It's a game that anybody can play, and it's fun.
If we can play it, you guys can play.
Paul, when I talked to you earlier this week, you had mentioned that there was like 15, 20 people that like to play this.
During the winter time, when we play through community ed, we play on Wednesday night from 6 to 9, and Sunday afternoon from 1 to 3. There were several times when there were 17 or 18 people present.
Wow.
We can only fit 3 courts in the gym, so that's 12 people playing at a time. That means there are 5 people there waiting to shift in and out, and I'm guessing that once we had a facility to do it in the summertime, we would have no trouble I think right now we have 20, we have a text group. that We
yeah.
text out. We've got 23 people on that group that do play or have expressed interest in playing.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, I will get that on the park board agenda, and then we'll send you a notice, that way you know when that meeting is. And more than likely, we can talk about it at that level and see what we can come up with.
All right.
All right, thank you much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
fellas.
guys.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? One more time, is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Okay, our public open forum is now closed. We will then move on to number 5, public hearings. Tax Increment Finance District 1-14. We will recess the regular meeting and enter into our public hearing. We have one public hearing before us this evening regarding the TIF District 1-14. It is our intention that everyone has the opportunity to be heard. If you wish to speak, please sign in on the sign-up sheet at the back of the room. The procedure is as follows. Presentation by staff, followed by questions of staff, public input, then raise your hand. When recognized by the mayor, approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. State your comments and position. No one will be allowed to speak a second time until everyone has had a chance to be heard. First, we will hear questions for clarification. Then secondly, public in favor of the proposal. Then third, public speaking against the proposal. After everyone who wishes to speak has had an opportunity to be heard, the hearing will be closed. After closure of the public hearing, the council will deliberate and take action as appropriate. Members of the audience do not participate in the council's discussion unless a majority of the council concedes to hear additional information or questions. The hearing is now in session. Public hearing has been set for May 19th, which is today, at 6:30 to take public comment on the creation of the Tax Increment Finance District. This district includes 2 lots in the Sauk Center Industrial Park. The project will include the construction of a minimum 3,600 square foot manufacturing plant with a minimum value of $300,000. The use of tax increment is to reimburse for land acquisition costs of $55,800. Said reimbursement to be paid to Sauk Center. Opportunities will be providing the land to the developer upfront at no charge. Tammy Amdahl from Northland Securities will be joining the meeting, and she is here. She will provide us with additional information and answer any questions we have on this. So, Tammy, if you want to.
Mayor, Council, is this on? Can you hear me? Good
Yep.
evening. Tammy Amdahl with Northland Public Finance, Northland Securities, serving as consultant to the city on the establishment of this tax increment district. Mayor, you gave a very nice summary of the purpose of it, maybe to add a little bit more detail for the council. With the establishment, should the council approve that resolution later on the agenda, you would be establishing an economic development tax increment financing district. The city has established this type of district for other manufacturing, warehousing, distribution projects in the city. How it will function is for a period of up to 9 years. The increase in local property taxes from the proposed development would be captured in order to assist the project, and as the mayor noted, to reimburse for the land acquisition costs. There is no upfront money that the city is providing. It will occur on what we oftentimes call a pay-go. So as they pay their real estate taxes and there's tax increment that is generated under terms of an agreement, which is also on your agenda this evening, that the city then twice a year would make payments on that pursuant to that agreement. So Mayor, Council, happy to answer any questions that you may have, or if there's anyone from the public that speaks in a moment.
Is there any questions for Tammy?
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will ask if there's anyone here from the public that wants to speak in favor or against or needs clarification for this action. Is there anyone here that wants clarification, wants to speak, or against? Call a third time. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification? Okay. Council have any last minute questions?
I think so.
Okay. Then we will close the public hearing and reconvene our regular council meeting. Reports and presentations, Police Department, Brian?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for April 2021. Some of the numbers we had 122 verbal warnings given out. We did 52 door checks. We did foot patrol 126 times. We did school patrol 29 times. We had 19 medicals, 11 alarms. We did 8 welfare checks. We had 5 juvenile problems. We had 24 assists for other agencies. We did 25 citizen contacts. We had 27 matter of information calls. And that's about it. For a total of, so verbal warnings, 122, total calls of 511 for a total of 633, which was pretty comparable to March. A little down, actually. And then compared to 2020, very comparable, same numbers, so. We have like I say, we had our new squad car going, and finally got the equipment, should be in the second new squad car Friday. So hopefully we should have that on the road now. And then we bought out the other old lease squad cars, so we'll have that as a spare now. And then the Taurus as a backup, or go to class car or whatever, so. It's kind of where we're at with them. It took a long time for the equipment to come in for that second squad car for some reason, so. Otherwise, we should be all up to par then.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Chief, I notice you've got 7 or 8 more people that you pulled over for no driver's license again this past month.
Yeah.
These aren't the same 7 or 8 people you get every
No.
month, I hope.
Nope, all different. Yeah,
Thank you.
quite a few going through, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay,
Any questions?
thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Public Works Department, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Now that the weather's been getting a lot nicer, we've been a lot more busy with outdoor things at the campground. We did finish up the new water line installation for the seasonal campers. We ran the gas line to the new fish cleaning station, leveled all the parking pads for the campers, seeded black dirt areas, replaced the women's sink in the east bathroom, repaired a drain in a urinal that was not operational after putting water to the bathroom, and then we installed all the docks, including the new day use dock over by the band shell area. We've been mowing and trimming throughout the parks. We prepping the fountain for painting. We're going to paint that before we put water in it. We built a new pad for the Little Red Schoolhouse and assisted with moving the schoolhouse to J.C. Park. It sounds like 2 weeks they're going to put the block work up on that, and then they'll come back and grab their rails and we can finish up that project. Browns Park, we did have some vandalism to a sprinkler riser pipe. They broke the pipe off in the well. We had to have the well fixed, wires replaced, and the riser repaired. We do have that now turned on and operational as things are getting pretty dry in the parks without rain. Splash pad bathrooms are now open and operational. The splash pad is not on yet. We are planning to open that up for Memorial Weekend, and then we are going to seal the concrete on the splash pad. We do that every 2 years, so this year we're due to do that as well. And then we're also working on just checking everything over with the splash pad, make sure it's all working right before Memorial Weekend. Work has begun on the fitness park, removing the asphalt, and likely next week you'll see the concrete curb get formed up and poured at the same time. I haven't gotten a firm date yet from the company to install it, but it sounds like they want to have it all in and done before the 4th of July, which is what we were shooting for. So I think that will happen as long as they show up to get their part done. We're getting our stuff ready for them. Pothole patching on a daily basis, working on getting everything filled. A couple more days should come really close to completing this project. So we've probably got about 25 ton out already, and another 10 ton or so should get it. We had dust control placed on the 5 typical roads that we do every year. We're about 3/4 of the way through planting our trees that were funded through the EAB grant, and we've got about 60 that we're putting in the ground this year. And we maintain those on a weekly basis with watering. We finished the dirt work around the fish cleaning station, and that's seeded now. And then we installed the new table inside the building. The electrical is about 95% completed, and the plumbing is supposed to be done tomorrow. So as long as nothing comes up in his schedule, he'll be there tomorrow to work on that. And we're hoping to have it ready for the weekend as long as everything gets done. So looking likely that it will be open for this weekend anyways. J.C. Park, the volleyball net poles were bent crooked, so we fixed that and installed a new net up there. We cleaned the storm outlet by Beltline and Sinclair Lewis Avenue. And then we did get a large amount of tree branches along with grass and leaves at the compost site this spring. The brush pile was massive. We're clearly getting stuff from outside of town, but luckily we were able to get that burnt today since it was a little bit misting out. And then at the airport, we did have an issue with the fuel master power supply. That part has arrived. We're going to put that in tomorrow and hopefully alleviate that issue. And the AWAS system is acting up again, but I've been in contact with MnDOT. They're aware of it and they're working on it, so hopefully that gets resolved here in the near future. That's a wrap for this past month anyways. Any questions I can answer?
Questions, concerns? There's a lot of stuff on your plate, so
Yeah.
keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. City engineer report. Keith?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Few things on our plate, obviously. Start with last year's project. We're still waiting for the contractor to kind of get going and finishing that project up. But I imagine it'll be pretty soon here as we're kind of getting to the warm weather finally, so we'll get started on that. But I would think by the first meeting in June, we'll probably know about when that's going to be completed and finished up. But the final project schedule is about middle of June. It has to be done by then. So that's where that one's at. The Interpretive Center site, the Aerosmith Plat 3, as we call it, that one is actually before you tonight with the approving plans and specifications and looking to move forward with that project. So that's going quite well. We are beginning to do our efforts on the South Industrial Park site and starting the preliminary design down there as well, working through that. I think there's some items on our agenda tonight for that as well. And the 2022 project, we are working on the feasibility report. Scheduled, probably have it to you the second meeting in June is probably when that will come before you. So we can start talking about that, scheduling public hearings and those kinds of things. Otherwise, we've done a little bit of things, some survey. There's actually a certificate survey out in the industrial park that is on your agenda for tonight as well. So a few little minor things like that that's been keeping us busy. But any questions you have for us?
Questions, concerns? Guess not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Planning Commission report. Sarah?
Good evening. In your package, you have a copy of the Planning Commission meeting agenda that was held on Tuesday, May 11th. We did have 2 public hearings at that meeting for variances, and they are action items later on the agenda. We have a copy of the April building permit report. And as of the end of April, we have just over about $2 million of new construction valuation happening in town, which is good.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Airport Board report, that they held their bi-monthly meeting of the Sauk Center Airport Board that was held on Wednesday, May 12th of 2021. They applied for a reimbursement from MnDOT for the zoning update for $46,875. They did airfield maintenance project scheduled for September 18th of 2021. Discussed land acquisition environmental review for Crosswind Runway, and reviewed the total city costs for the 2021 projects. Looks like city's total was $21,826.03 out of a $371,928 budget. So, and then they reviewed the 20-year capital improvement plan and the entitlement balances. So Sean, you sit on the board, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have been more prepared had I known Vicky wasn't going to be here.
No,
but
that's
yeah.
fine. I just planned on doing it. I was just wondering if you had anything to add to it.
I can't think of anything more.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, then we will move on to,
Lots happened since then.
move on to our action items. 7A, approve resolution 2021-39, approving tax increment financing district 1-14, and approve resolution 2021-51, authorizing the interfund loan. So the attached resolution is the formal approval of the creation of the tax increment finance district 1-14. The complete document has been available for review at City Hall and has been provided to the City Council under a separate cover. It approves the modification of the Development District 1, modifies the overall development program, establishes TIF District 1-14, and approves tax increment financing plan. And then a second resolution authorizes an interfund loan for advancement of costs that will be reimbursed with TIF funding. This will be paid back with the 5% the city retains for admin costs. Tammy, is there anything I missed?
That's everything.
Okay. So is there any questions or concerns or comments that between myself and Tammy we can try to answer? If not, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-39, approving the modification of the development district number 1, approving the modification of development program therefore, establishing tax increment financing district number 1-14, and approve the tax increment financing plan.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Any last discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Now I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2021-51, authorizing the interfund loan.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Okay. 7B, approve contract for private development, Sauk Center opportunities. The contract for private development is an agreement between the city, the developer, which is Lawnmower Brothers, and Sauk Center opportunities. The agreement defines how the city captures the increment and remits it to Sauk Center opportunities as reimbursement for land costs. The agreement also commits the developer to build a building of the size and value that would generate the increment needed to make Sauk Center opportunities whole. It also lays out jobs to be created and the anticipated pay of those jobs. The size of the building is a minimum of 3,600 square feet. The proposed is 6,350. The value is a minimum of 300,000. Jobs is 6. The land cost is $55,800. We have those details laid here. Do we have anything else that you know about that, or?
Mayor, that would be the action to approve, and I'm not certain the city attorney in your packet was a resolution, you don't need one, but the approved the contract.
Yeah, we just got basically approved the contract for the private development.
So that would be the action.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions from the council? EDA comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the contract for the private development?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh, Heidi did it.
Okay, second by
I'll
Heidi.
second.
Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Thank you, Tammy. 7C, approve resolution 2021-45 authorizing execution of grant, MnDOT/FAA. The Sauk Center Municipal Airport's been granted $13,000 in funding from the recent Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, which is funding directly from the FAA to reimburse eligible airport expenses. The city is eligible for reimbursement of expenses under this act until July 31st, 2025. The agreement outlines the FAA, local government, and MnDOT's duties and responsibilities necessary for compliance. We have the state of Minnesota agreement in front of us. Is there any questions, concerns, or anything about that content? Basically, it's a chance for us to reimburse ourselves, so.
Right.
If I don't hear any questions or anything, do we have a motion to approve resolution 2021-45?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Heidi,
I'll second.
second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7D, approve resolution 2021-46, granting the variance St. Paul's Church. St. Paul's Church applied for a variance to construct an addition onto an existing garage closer to the road right-of-ways of Birch Street South and Second Street South than is allowed by ordinance. The staff report is there. The Planning Commission approved the variance with the findings and the conditions. One of the conditions that was added by the Planning Commission was, if you look at the map, you can see the proposed addition enters into that site triangle. It was brought to us, and as a condition, they are going to change the building so that will be cut off, so the building will basically lose that one sharp 90-degree corner, so it will not affect the site triangle. And the Planning Commission made that as a condition that that has to be done. Otherwise, the variance is null and void. One of the things is that usually a variance request has to follow showing hardship, but considering the scope of the St. Paul's Church plan with everything that they're doing with remodeling and taking down another part of a building and expanding their parking lot, my opinion was the Planning Commission felt that it was within the scope of that whole process that this needed to be done. So, is there any questions or concerns about approving the variance? Hearing none, otherwise then we'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2021-46 granting the variance to St. Paul's Church.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shellen. Any last minute questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7E, approve resolution 2021-47 granting the variance. Majeski. So Roger Majeski at 1065 Getty Street South is requesting a variance from his side yard setback. The setback requirement is 15 feet. The request is for 6.9 feet for the construction of a detached accessory structure. The Planning Commission held a public hearing. There was no other public comment other than Roger Majeski. And you have the map in front of you for the site plan. All the Planning Commission voted in unanimous of that based on the findings and conditions. There was no anything else. Is there any questions or concerns, or you need clarification kind of where this is? There's that tar road that comes off of Getty Street that comes into the backside of Boyer
Right.
Motor.
Right.
And that's the house just to the north of that area.
When he's putting the edge of the garage right on where the carport is, right? That's my understanding.
Yeah, basically, it's gonna be in that same spot, yeah. So, that is,
The only, and the planning commission put something in there about controlling runoff of the building, right?
Yep.
Or, okay.
yep, that was one of the conditions.
Because I'm assuming that the pitch of the garage is going to be a little bit different than the roof of the carport. That was a little bit flatter than I'm assuming his
True.
garage is going to be.
Yeah, I think it was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's listed as one of the conditions in there, applicant shall reduce erosion and stormwater runoff onto neighboring properties by installing gutters and downspouts directed away from the adjoining properties.
Okay.
So that is one of the conditions for that, so. Is there any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve Resolution 2021-47, granting the variance to Roger Majeski.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7F, approve Resolution 2021-48, accepting the bid for Lawnmower. We, April 7th, 2021, the City Council authorized the solicitation of quotes for the purchase of a new lawnmower to replace the city's Ferris mower. The following quotes were received. Ben, you want to come up and talk us through the quotes, because you said one of them is in the wrong spot?
Yeah, so if you look, the very first one for farm right equipment, that should be listed in the 37 horsepower category, not the 31 horsepower category.
Which one did you say?
The top one, farm.
Aside from that, we got a bid price and then the trade-in price. And I just received from Center Sports a trade-in price. I can bring up on my phone if you want me to bring that up now, Mayor, or what would you like to do with that?
Trade-in price, that one I think was, I don't have a note on that, but if you want to mention it, yeah, if you
Okay.
could. That would be a trade-in price to go against for the purchase of the Cub Cadet?
That's correct.
Okay.
And we just kind of requested that they quote the highest horsepower machines that they would have available. There is some difficulty getting some machines this year due to availability of parts. There we go.
You had too much stuff on your phone.
Had to cycle through it. Okay, they offered a $4,500 trade-in value, which would bring the total cost to $4,330.98 if we went that route.
Okay.
So, just wanted that to be in there. My thoughts are the higher horsepower machine, because typically we've had diesel lawnmowers in the past. Going to look at this, these are all gas mowers, and the reason that we're looking at that option is they're 30 to 40% less than a diesel mower, and a 37 horsepower gas mower can mow just as good as a diesel mower in my opinion, and we're saving those costs. So that's why I went this route, but in consideration of that, I think that we should go with the higher horsepower machine to make up for the fact that we don't have the diesel power to back that up. The four different ones that we looked at in the 37 horsepower are the Toro, the Ferris, the John Deere, and the Bobcat. The Ferris is the only one that's available now. The other ones would have to be ordered, and it's anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks for delivery time.
Okay. One of the things you had told me that you had test drove.
So we did test drive all these machines, and the Ferris, the one thing that sets that apart from the rest of them is the frame is actually mounted to a suspension system on the wheels. So it was hands down the smoothest riding machine, and we do have some very rough parks, so it's something to take into consideration. All the other zero-turn mowers are a solid frame, and the only suspension is in the seat itself. So the Ferris actually has 4 shock absorbers on each corner of the machine, plus the seat has a shock absorber in it as well. So for a guy that's sitting on there 8, 9, 10 hours a day, it certainly is going to reduce his fatigue and make things a lot easier on him as the day goes on. So it was quite a difference. It was quite noticeable. I was actually quite surprised when we test drove it how much nicer it was.
Okay. Questions so far?
What, since we've had a Ferris in the past, what is your opinion of parts availability and serviceability of the Ferris if we went with that one?
Yeah, so it's nice to stay as local as possible. I understand that. Ollie's is in Alexandria, so it's not a terrible drive away. We really haven't had to get many parts for the Ferris that we own now. Everything can be, they have people that can drive by and drop stuff off, so that really hasn't been an issue for us. We did have one issue getting a part for our Ferris 2 years ago. For unknown reasons, it was on back order for a long time. We were able to fix it ourselves. We made it work instead of getting the new $50 part. But that was the only issue that we ran into in the 10 years that we've had the Ferris that we have now, was that one $50 part.
One of the things when Ben and I talked is going with a higher horsepower motor, we got some pretty large parks. And if some point we get a lot of rain and the grass gets super heavy, you start cutting back on the horsepower of that machine, it's gonna affect how it cuts. And you had also stated this was one of them that when you kicked it into gear, it actually.
So you can tell, like, if you are holding the joysticks and you go from nothing to all the way forward and the mower deck is engaged, some of the machines would actually bog down a little bit because the hydros on the wheels are taking so much power from the engine. But those higher horsepower machines, they didn't experience that bog. You were able to just take right off. Nothing bogged down. The mower deck didn't slow down, so you're able to just keep moving.
Okay, so that's one thing to consider, The other part was, we had budgeted 22,000
20,000 even.
or 20,000 even. So basically, depending on what we choose, we'll be in underneath.
Right.
The other thing now that you mentioned, we will be 8 to 10 weeks before we get the new one, depending on what we go with. The trade-in value for for the one we got, if we got to put 8 to 10 weeks of mowing on that, besides, it might turn into where we could be better off if we just kept it and used it.
The machine that we have now has the bagger system on it. That's our only bagger system that we have, and these aren't quoted with a bagger system. So for the trade-in price, I think it'd probably be worth hanging on to it just for the bagging capabilities, because a bagger system is easily going to cost you what they would give us on trade-in.
Okay. So, questions, comments?
The bid price then is just what it is without the trade-in, if I'm reading it right. Is that correct?
Correct. Bid price is just to purchase the machine, no trade.
Got it.
What would your recommendation be?
I think the nicest one that we drove was the Ferris from Ollie's Service.
Okay.
It had a lot of features on it that were very nice. They were nice. It's the nicest machine for the operator, I think, as far as comfort, and It looked well-built. One thing I liked about the motor that I haven't seen before on other ones, typically a motor like a 37 horsepower motor only holds 4 or 5 quarts of oil at the most. This actually had a separate oil reservoir where it held about 1.5 gallons of oil. So the oil runs cooler, it lasts longer. They actually claim that you could go 500 hours on an oil change. We wouldn't do that anyways because oil's not that expensive, but
Right.
that is quite a feat to accomplish with a small engine like that. I mean, typically every 50 to 100 hours you should be changing oil on a mower like this. So that was pretty impressive to see.
And what was the length on that one, getting it, the time frame on that one to?
That one they have on the floor, so it's
They
available.
have that on hand, so. And we could actually keep the other one, and if we want to, sell that on min bid probably, rather than trade it in.
Absolutely.
Because it's only showing what, the $3,200 is what they're giving us for the one we have.
At Alexandria, yes.
But for now, you want to keep it because it's the only bagger that we have.
Yes.
Is it worth looking into getting a bagger for this Ferris model if we
I
were?
think that would be something to look into down the road
Okay.
here, yep, absolutely. And like Mayor said, on min bid, mowers have been going for a pretty good price, so I don't anticipate that we'd see any less than what those trade-in numbers are if we went out for auction on it.
One comment is I know people are gonna say, of course, they're gonna spend the most money for the nicest piece of equipment there is, but, you know, and you start looking at, you have someone sitting on a lawnmower for 8, 9 hours. If the ride isn't comfortable, eventually we're gonna end up with some back issues and some neck issues, and it's gonna come back on the workman's comp side of it. So what we're trying to save here, you know, is gonna come back if we don't go that way. So I agree with Ben on the condition, but that, you know, everybody has a different opinion, so. I'll be looking for
Well,
motion to approve resolution 2021-48, accepting the quote for the lawnmower, and whoever makes a motion can,
well, I'll make the motion, we go with the Ferris. We purchase that, and then we keep the other one for the bagger.
okay? We have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Okay, we have a motion to approve resolution 2021-48, accepting the quote for the lawnmower from Ollie's Service, the 20 Ferris, for $13,500 with no trade-in. Is there any questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7G, approve resolution 2021-48, or 49, I should say, approving plans and specs and authorized bidding. The city's moving forward with the information center redevelopment. The plans and specifications for the project have been completed and will be presented at the meeting. The plans include the complete redevelopment of the property, including tree removal, building demolition, grading, fill, site prep, and installation of sanitary water, municipal water, and storm sewer. And we have a timeline here, starting with tonight at May 19th, with the final completion of August 21st. So, and Keith has got all the details.
I'm done. No, Mayor and Council, I did provide a packet for you with this in it, but I just want to provide you just some of the, I know you didn't get a chance to read it, obviously. We're on a tight timeline to kind of keep this project moving, so I apologize for the speed of that, but it's required in order to keep things going so we can get to construction, obviously. So I'm going to give you just a highlight of a few of the key sheets from the plans in front of us here. So let's see, I'll just move forward here. Hopefully. Oops. Okay. No, I went too far, sorry. There we go. So this is the existing site here, oops, I gotta turn this on. So I got my laser, so the existing site north is to the right-hand side of the paper here. So all this stuff, it's out here, all the trees, the parking lot, the building, all the things, this is what's the demolition. So all that's gonna be removed as part of the project. This is what we're showing for the concept plan, where we have one site that's located here. The property line, as you can see, is right through here. You've already approved this plat in the past. This is where one of a commercial facility could be. Another one is proposed to be potentially a hotel located in here. And then there's another retail that's down in this corner through here. This portion that you see kind of in the dark, that is what would be completed as it relates to surface improvements, meaning curb and gutter, bituminous, those kinds of things with this project. The remainder of this would only be grading, so site grading out through here, which includes the building pads, but it would also include the utilities, which I have a little more detail. This one shows the site with the grading plan. It's a little busy here, but generally this site is, everything drains down now to the pond that's located in the, along the edge of the MnDOT right-of-way here. Generally that drainage continues, kind of flows from the west to the east through here. But this is how everything's been laid out. This is how it would be graded for site-ready conditions for a future tenant. This just shows a little bit of a blow-up of the pond area through here. It's actually not too much different than what's out there now. It's a little bit larger. I mean, it's a little bit wider to the west side through here. There is a little rock dam, check dam in here. The water actually comes in, the stormwater on this end. So this is kind of a forebay to catch the sediment, those kinds of things, before it overflows and then comes and discharges out of that pond ultimately. The hydraulics for this, basically the pond discharge rate and the high water level is about exactly the same as it is now, even with this. And that's because with a couple of years projects that we've done over the years, we've actually removed a bunch of the drainage shed that used to come to here has now been removed and going someplace else. So we're able to accommodate even though there's more imperviousness with this site.
Can I stop you? If I'm thinking of this then visually, if you're coming in on 71 looking towards that property, what's planned for the area closest to 71 would look similar to where it's at right now. Most of the fill would happen at the back end.
The back end, it's
backside.
going to come up steeper. You know, if you were looking west, it'll come up steeper there. That, you know, it's flatter now as it goes out. So that will be filled in. So it'd be sort of a steeper on that, I guess it'd be the westerly slope of the pond.
Okay.
It'd be kind of steeper. So the other areas in, in this area, if you will, which drops down now, would be brought up. There is about 10,000 yards of material that has to be brought into this site and this will actually come from the area that's just south of the truck stop on that South Industrial Park area. That's where that material will come from through here. Okay. Any other questions? And please interrupt me anytime if you have
On the
questions.
phase one part, right on that corner that we were talking about, that will be taken care of first then?
Correct.
And then, so that client will be able to get started on what they want to do and as we finish the rest of it?
Absolutely, Mayor. That's what we're planning. So this would be in a phased approach. This is got a speedy schedule, if you will. So we need to get that grading done so that they can start on those surface improvements in here. In order to get this tenant or this landowner going, we really just need the grading done, some subgrade done. Then they could actually start the work. And we could then come behind and do the aggregate base and bituminous behind them. We just need to get them a pad-ready location so that they can start their construction through there. So that is the plan. This is showing the utilities. We already have water and sewer stubbed in right off of Getty Street here. We're going to have a water stub that comes out from here across and down to service this building. One that comes down, there's a stub to service this, and then there's a hydrant that's located over here. There is a water service, kind of a longer one that comes off of this and comes down to service this property through here. The sanitary sewer for this property will be a service that comes off of the existing sanitary. There's a sanitary runs right through here for this, and the other two are just stubs that come off of a manhole that will be placed here to service these two separate parcels through here. So that's what the plan is. Everything's being graded, as I said, according to this particular layout. It's possible that when there is an actual site, that they might do something slightly different, but they'll have to make those arrangements on their own in order to make some minor modifications for that. This is the storm sewer for Phase 1, which basically is just a run that comes from the pond up and over to this location here. We need to do this because it's underneath the pavement in these areas to be able to collect this water through here. There is in the future lines that come from from the south end of the property that would connect in here and discharge in, but that will happen down the line when the next development or the next piece begins to develop as well. Actually, that's for later discussion. So that's all I have for the show for these. This is where the plans are at. In terms of a schedule, the only thing that when we looked in more detail, we're unfortunately not able to make the June 16th bid, which is your council meeting, the second one in June. Unfortunately, we're going to be a day later, and it's going to be June 17th. So one of the things we'd like you to consider is whether you wish to have a special meeting, either move the original meeting or have a special meeting such that we could actually award the project so we could move forward. The idea is to get to construction in July so we can get this done so they can, the one tenant or the one landowner can begin construction on their project. So we'd like you to consider that, and however you wish to do that is up to you. We could just have a quick special meeting that could be the next day, could be Monday of the next week, or whatever might fit for the council, but that's what we would like you to consider, and that should be then probably also include as part of your motion so that could get documented that you want to have that special meeting. So with that, I'll stop and ask any questions that you may have.
Questions, concerns? That week I am out of town, so if you want to move the regular meeting from Wednesday to Thursday or have a special meeting, I'm going to be leaving it up to you to decide how you want to do that.
I don't think that it would take much of our time to be able to do that. I think it's, for the amount of time that we've spent on the planning of this, I think it's worth our time and effort to make it happen, to see it move
I
forward as
agree.
quickly as possible. My personal opinion.
So you want to have a special meeting then?
I think so.
Special meeting the day after
That's
the
fine.
regular?
Me too, I'll be available.
You could do whatever works for you, Thursday, Friday, that would be okay. It'd even be okay if you did it Monday, the following Monday, but fairly quickly so we can get contracts going, assuming that you award it to move forward.
Right.
What time, Heidi?
We could, I'm open. What,
Midnight?
aside from that?
How's
Which day are you looking at? Are you looking at the Thursday then?
Thursday after?
Thursday, the 17th would
Yeah.
be the proposed, unless Shallon can.
I need to double check my calendar. I should be able to make anything work, but just need to double check.
So if we did 6:30, same time as council meeting?
Should be fine.
Yeah,
It should
shouldn't
be
take
fine.
long, so you could even do it ahead, I bet you this will take, 15 minutes
Yeah.
probably, so
Yeah.
whenever you want to, I will be available. We'll take bids late morning, so by the time we tabulate them, as long as you didn't do it, say after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we should be just fine, so.
So it's up to you. Otherwise, whoever makes the motion, just include the date and the time of what the special meeting would be.
I think with the date set, we should be able to figure out time when we get closer to that.
You could do that later if you wish, as long as you set a date, that's probably good.
Date, okay. Well, is there any other discussion? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2021-49, approving the plans and specs and authorizing advertisement for bids for the Aerosmith Plat 3 development, along with the date of a special meeting?
I'll make that motion, and with the plan to have the special meeting on June 17th.
Okay,
I'll second it.
second by Diane. Any other questions or concerns? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none
Thank you.
against. Thank you. 7H, approve resolution 2021-50, authorizing execution of closing documents. In review, the representatives of the Sauk Center Baseball Association, Sauk Center Public School, Sauk Center Park Board, and the Sauk Center Fire Department have met and are working on the expanded development of the Tower View fields into regulation baseball fields. This expansion will require the acquisition of additional property to the north to accommodate it. The TRICAP Board is anxious to work with the city and has agreed to sell the city 32 feet of their property along its southern boundary. The property is identified as Tract B on the attached survey. The purchase price is not a cash price, but is in the form of an exchange for excavation work. TRICAP intends to construct an addition on their facility in the future which will require the removal of fill to accommodate that expansion. The purchase price for this sale will be to perform that excavation and will also allow the use of the removed material for the field renovation. The cost of the excavation work is anticipated to be covered with fundraising efforts of the committee. Is there any questions or concerns on authorizing the execution of that document so we can fulfill that action? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-50, authorizing execution of the closing documents?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7I, accept resignation, Sauk Center HRA Board. Mickey Welly has submitted her resignation for the Sauk Center HRA Board effective immediately. Her term was set to expire on March 31st of 2022. A replacement will be appointed at a future meeting. I'm looking for a motion to accept the resignation of Mickey Welly from the HRA Board effective immediately.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7J, bonus pay. Heidi and I sit on the Finance Committee and Personnel Committee, and we are bringing this to the City Council that based on everything that Vicki has been doing for the city and for the City Council, writing grants, actually getting us a very huge grant for that Unger property, along with working with PPE funds and real estate transactions and personnel issues, that we are bringing this to the council to suggest that we give her a 3% bonus check. Then that 3% would be of what her yearly salary is. So, I don't know if you got anything to add, Heidi, or,
No, I think that was,
I think for what she's done for the city and everything else, and I think she deserves that extra pat on the back, so. With that, if no one else has any comments, I think that I'm looking for a motion to give Vicki a 3% bonus.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Shallon. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Unfinished business, Public Works Maintenance position. 31 applications were received for the Public Works Maintenance position. The Personnel Committee, Heidi and myself, along with the City Administrator and Public Works Supervisor Ben Klink, independently reviewed and ranked the applicants. Each was then given a composite score, and the top 8 were selected for interview. I think we were going with 5, right, Ben? Yep. Interviews will be held the week of May 24th with the anticipation of an appointment so we could be made at the June 2nd city council meeting. And it sounds like next week, Thursday, is when we're planning on having the interviews at 12 o'clock, so. There's no action requested on that, it's just informational on that point. We have no new business, and that brings us to our consent agenda. We have schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $187,240.75, paid claims of $6,307.19, for a total of $193,547.94. April checks, paid claims / payroll of $327,105.55. Every year by June 30th, the liquor licenses are all up for renewal. To date, the following applicants have the appropriate paperwork completed and the fee is paid. Next Door Bar, Bear Trap, Mustang Bar 3, Old Course, Whiskey's Corner Bar, Mezcal, American Legion, Post 67, the Palmer House, Crazy J's Bar and Grill, West Side Liquor, Walmart, and Sisters Beer, Wine, and Spirits. And also every year by June 30th, we have the on-off sale 3-2 beer licenses are up for renewal. To date, all of the applicants have appropriate paperwork completed and fee paid. I think there was an updated consent calendar someplace here. And that would be Isaac's, North Star, and Colburn's. And also by June 30th, the cigarette licenses are up for renewal. To date, the following applicants have the appropriate paperwork completed and the fee paid. The listed below are the cigarette licenses and their license number. It would be for Next Door Bar, West Side Liquor, Bear Trap, Mustang Bar, Colburn's, Sauk Center Fleet, Casey's General Store, Isaac's North Star, Walmart, Truckers Inn Truck Stop, Brothers Market Sauk Center, Sisters Beer, Wine, and Spirits, Holiday Station Stores, Whiskey's Corner Bar, and Crazy J's Bar and Grill. We also have a gambling application for exempt permit request from Sauk Center Chamber of Commerce for a Sinclair Lewis Days raffle at the Next Door Bar on July 17th of 2021. Also, we have an assembly permit request from Deb Holt for a Corpus Christi procession to be held on June 6, 2021 at Our Lady of Angels. About 200 people are expected to attend. The procession will be from Our Lady of Angels Church down Ash Street to St. Paul's Church and back down Birch Street. Is there any questions, concerns with the consent agenda as presented? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shallen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items. Once again, Saturday, May 22nd, it's the 2021 Spring Cleanup Day from 8 a.m. to noon. Also, that'd be at the Civic Arena parking lot. We have the Hazardous Waste Pickup Day, which is at the Hockey Arena on June 16th from 10 a.m. to 2. And another Spectrum lineup change on their channels. So, any questions about the informational items? Okay, we have 2 closed sessions now, so we will recess the council meeting and clear the council chambers. Okay, we're reconvening our regular council meeting. We coming out of closed session. We had a consideration of sale of real estate and also a personnel issue pursuant to Minnesota State statute 13D.05. We have discussed both these situations, and we have come to a conclusion and directing staff as to which direction we want to go on both cases. So with that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. Everybody wants out of here. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.